Hello friends, myself Dr. Nandakumar Raubawale from College of Engineering Ambajogay is going to deal with Applied Thermodynamics 2. This is our third lecture. In previous lecture, we have discussed about efficiency or COP of heat engine, coefficient of performance of refrigerator. So this is not a COP. We say this as efficiency of heat engine, COP of refrigerator, COP of heat pump, sources of cooling load, air refrigeration, advantages of air refrigeration, disadvantages of air refrigeration, and lastly working of air refrigeration cycle on reversed Carnot cycle, based on reversed Carnot cycle. So today we are going to discuss the limitations of a reversed Carnot cycle. So what kind of limitations are there to implement reversed Carnot cycle to use a refrigeration system working on reversed Carnot system? Then today we are going to study a new cycle, that is Bell-Coleman cycle or reversed Brayton cycle. Sometimes it is known as a Joule cycle, which is used for producing refrigerating effect. Then we are going to find out coefficient of performance of a Bell-Coleman cycle used for producing a refrigerating effect. Now, what are the limitations of Carnot cycle? So during process 1 to 2, which we have studied, is adiabatic compression process, and during which the piston has to move very fast. So as the adiabatic process means heat transfer Q is equal to 0, or change in entropy ds is equal to 0. So that is nothing but because of compression process the heat is produced, and we have to make this compression process in such a way it has to be completed in very fast speed, so that the time provided for heat transfer from system to surrounding should be very less. That is nothing but within short time the quantity of heat generated cannot be transferred. So within fraction of time, if we complete this process, and because of this time lag, the heat transfer to the surrounding will be 0. So this is the concept of this adiabatic compression. During adiabatic compression, if you want to avoid the heat transfer from system to surrounding, so the compression process has to be completed very fast, and so that the heat transfer from system to surrounding will be negligible. So another ways to achieve this adiabatic compression is by insulating the system. So this is one reason or a limitation. So now second limitation of this is during process 2 to 3, isothermal compression process. So piston has to move at a very low speed. So here during remaining part of compression, it is isothermal process, that is nothing but constant temperature process. Constant temperature process is nothing but the amount of heat produced has to be dissipated to surrounding completely. 100% heat has to be dissipated to surrounding, and to dissipate heat produced by compression 100% heat to the surrounding, the process has to be carried out at very slow speed, infinitesimally small speed, and because of that the heat will be transferred from system to surrounding completely. So half or part of the piston movement has to be made at a very fast speed, and part of the movement of piston has to be made at very slow speed. Say for example, this is the cylinder and piston is moving from BDC to TDC. So what happens, partly this piston has to move at a very high speed, and partly it has to move at very slow speed. So to reduce this speed to that slow motion is impossible. In a same stroke, it is not possible for us to have two different speeds and practically this is not possible. So here the piston has to move at a very high speed in first part of compression during adiabatic compression, and for remaining part of stroke it has to move at a very low speed because it is isothermal process. so which is practically impossible. This is the limitation of reversed Carnot cycle, and because of this reversed Carnot cycle cannot be applied or cannot be used for producing refrigerating effect or to manufacture the refrigerator working on reversed Carnot cycle. So this is the major demerit. Now we'll move to the Bell-Coleman cycle or reversed Brayton cycle or Joule cycle. So here it has got four major components: compressor, expander, evaporator, and cooler. So this cooler is nothing but a part where the heat is rejected to the surrounding. So heat from evaporator, so this is the part where heat is absorbed from a brine. Brine means it is a solution of salt and water, and this brine is going to take heat from a place where it has to be maintained at cold temperature. So this is the space which is to be maintained at lower temperature than the surrounding. So this brine comes into this cold space, absorbs heat energy, and it goes into the evaporator, and it dissipates its heat to the refrigerant into this evaporator, and this cooled brine again comes into this cold space where again it absorbs heat and it moves into the evaporator, and this brine works as an agent to carry heat from the cold space and reject it to the refrigerant into the evaporator, that is nothing but air. Now how this works, that we will see. When this refrigerant moves to this cooler, so air moves to the cooler, so this is at a very high temperature and it rejects heat to the surrounding in this condenser. So this is the part where heat is dissipated to the surrounding. So Q out, and here Q in. So in this refrigeration system, heat enters from evaporator and it leaves this refrigeration system into the cooler or condenser. So now first of all we will see how it works. So point 1, we consider the state of air which is here. So at point 1 to 2, see here, 1 is the place where the air enters into this compressor and 1 to 2 isentropic compression process. Okay, so this is a 1 to 2 isentropic compression process. So in this isentropic compression process, air is compressed from pressure P1 to pressure P2, from temperature T1 to temperature T2, and specific volume reduces from V1 to V2. It follows the isentropic compression process, and in this compressor air is compressed. So when it is compressed, so temperature of air is very high, that is nothing but it is greater than the surrounding temperature. When it enters into this condenser, so in condenser the heat is rejected. So process 2 to 3 is nothing but a cooling process. So when air enters at the ambient temperature, say, or the temperature which is to be maintained below the atmospheric temperature, then air is compressed and that air is delivered into this condenser. So at the time when this air enters into the condenser is having pressure P2, temperature T2, and volume V2. So where pressure P2 is higher than pressure P1, temperature T2 is higher than temperature T1, whereas volume, specific volume, is V2, which is lower than V1. When it enters into this condenser, so now heat is rejected from air to the surrounding. So this process 2 to 3 is nothing but the constant pressure heat rejection. So heat is rejected at constant pressure. There is no change in this pressure and heat is rejected to the surrounding. So here Q out, heat is moving out from this condenser. So where the temperature of air falls from, say here it was T2, again it falls to temperature T3, whereas pressure was here P2, pressure falls to P3. In the sense, pressure P2 and P3 are same because it is constant pressure process. So here P2 is equal to P3. So when this air rejects heat, so temperature falls from T2 to T3. Then this air which is cooled enters into the expander. So when it enters into the expander, it has got pressure P3 that is equal to P2 and temperature as T3, and then in expander air is expanded. So air is expanded. So during expansion process, the pressure falls from P3 to P4, and this pressure P4 is equal to P1. So that is nothing but constant pressure process. So during this process, this is what we call as a adiabatic expansion or isentropic expansion. So during which there is no transfer of heat and volume increases from V3 to V4. Specific volume increases, temperature also falls. So as the temperature falls, so it reaches to the temperature below the surrounding temperature, and this air enters into this expander. So in this expander, in this evaporator, this brine carries heat, and this heat from brine is absorbed by air at constant pressure. So pressure at point 4 and pressure at point 1 is same. So in this process 4 to 1 at constant pressure, heat is taken by this refrigerant Q in. So heat enters into the refrigeration system. Again this air comes at point 1, then it enters into again in the compressor. So here the affinity of this refrigerant, that is air, is to absorb heat energy because temperature is very low. So temperature at point 4, T4 is very low than T1. So heat is absorbed by this air at the pressure P1 is equal to P4. At constant pressure, heat is taken by this air into the system, and then it reaches to pressure P1, temperature T1, volume V1, then it enters into the compressor. Again this cycle starts to repeat. So this is how this Bell-Coleman cycle or reversed Brayton cycle works. So here a common motor is provided to run this expander and compressor. So when this motor is started, so expander and compressor are going to start on a common shaft. This is a common shaft. So when it starts to rotate, so this compressor starts to suck the air and expander starts to expand the air. So simultaneously compression and expansion processes are carried out by this power supplied by electric motor or maybe a engine. So now if we see this process on this TS diagram, so initially air enters into this compressor at temperature T1, pressure P1, volume V1. So air is compressed isentropically. So heat transfer Q is equal to 0, or change in entropy ds is equal to 0. So during process 1 to 2, the isentropic compression takes place, and from process 2 to 3, so constant pressure process, constant pressure heat rejection is taking place, and from 3 to 4, process 3 to 4, so it is again isentropic expansion. So that is Q is equal to 0, or change in entropy ds is equal to 0. So this is isentropic process, and from 4 to 1 again heat is taken at constant pressure, P is equal to C. Here Q in, here Q out. So this is how this Bell-Coleman cycle works. Now we will see one by one the processes of this Bell-Coleman cycle. So now if we see here, air from evaporator is drawn into the compressor at point 1, and this is compressed adiabatically from P1 to P2 by following the law PV raised to gamma is equal to constant. So compressed isentropically from state 1 to state 2. Air is compressed from state 1 to state 2 adiabatically or isentropically. Then here in this process, during this compression process, both pressure and temperature increases. So here pressure increases from P1 to P2 and temperature increases from T1 to T2, whereas specific volume gets reduced. So here this is a V1, and if we take here this specific volume V2, V1 to V2, specific volume gets reduced in this process 1 to 2. Then no heat transfer takes place as it is isentropic process. So there is no heat transfer. Q is equal to 0. Heat transfer Q is equal to 0, or change in entropy ds is equal to 0. This is first process, and which is represented by vertical line on TS diagram 1 to 2. So this is ds is equal to 0, or Q heat transfer is equal to 0. So this is TS diagram, and this is PV diagram. So this process 1 to 2 is represented on TS diagram and on PV diagram. So now next process, if we see constant pressure cooling process, so process 2 to 3. So here pressure was P2, volume was V2, temperature was T2. So air is cooled in this condenser by rejecting heat to the surrounding Q out by a constant pressure process. So temperature falls from T2 to P3, and pressure changes from P2 to P3, but P2 is equal to P3 because this is a constant pressure process. This is a constant pressure process. So this is done in the cooler. So now this process is shown on TS diagram from 2 to 3. So constant pressure process P is equal to C. So temperature falls from T2 to T3. Now you can see specific volume also decreases because of cooling. So specific volume of air is going to decrease. So earlier it was specific volume was V2. Now specific volume is going to change to V3. Then heat rejected during this process. Heat is rejected now. So heat is rejected at constant pressure. So heat transfer at constant pressure is given by mCp delta T. mCp delta T is nothing but m is nothing but mass of air. So here we are going to calculate it for unit mass of air, that is m is equal to 1 Cp into delta T, change in temperature. So change in temperature changes from T2 to T3. Therefore, so heat rejected during process 2 to 3 Q23 is given by m is equal to 1 Cp into delta T. Delta T is nothing but T2 minus T3 kilojoules per kg, because we are going to take m is equal to 1. So here heat transfer dq is equal to mCp delta T. So heat transfer during constant pressure process is given by mCp delta T. So m is equal to 1 we are going to take. So that's why here we are going to write as per kg. Cp is specific heat of air at constant pressure. Delta T is a change in temperature. So T2 minus T3. So here as we see, temperature at point 2 is higher than temperature at point 3. So T2 is greater than T3. So now if we take T2 minus T3, so this is the amount of heat rejected. Always heat rejected is taken as negative. Sorry, work done is taken as work done on the system is taken as negative, and work done by the system is taken as positive. Heat absorbed is taken as positive, heat rejected is taken as negative. So now third process, that is process 3 to 4, is again isentropic expansion process. So here pressure is P3, temperature is T3, specific volume is V3. It changes its temperature, pressure and volume. It changes its state from 3 to 4. So here pressure changes to P4 and temperature changes to T4, specific volume changes to V4. Now here the pressure at point 3 is P3 is equal to P2. When it reaches to point 4, so pressure P4 is equal to P1. So air is expanded isentropically from pressure P3 to P4, P3 to P4, where P3 is equal to P2 and P4 is equal to P1. Now during the expansion process, temperature of air decreases from T3 to T4 and specific volume of air increases from V3 to V4. So this process is shown by vertical line on TS diagram. So this is TS diagram. This process 3 to 4 is nothing but ds is equal to 0, isentropic process during which there is no heat transfer. So no heat transfer takes place as it is isentropic process. Then coming to this next process, constant pressure heat absorption process. So 4 to 1, P4, V4 and T4 is the state of this air, and when it enters into this condenser, sorry, in evaporator, it absorbs heat from the brine. So cold air from expander is circulated through the evaporator where it absorbs heat from brine and thus cools the brine. So refrigerating effect is obtained here, and pressure changes from P4 to P1, but P4 and P1 are same because this is constant pressure process. And temperature changes from T4 to T1, specific volume increases from V4 to V1. So now if we see during this process, temperature of air increases from T4 to T1 because it absorbs heat, and specific volume also increases from V4 to V1. When heat is taken, heat Q in the sense heat is taken by the air or a refrigerant. This process is shown on this PS diagram also, 4 to 1. So P is equal to constant process. So heat is taken in. So this is called as a constant pressure heat absorption. So during which heat absorbed during process again is given by heat Q is equal to mCp delta T. So m is equal to again 1, Cp is specific heat of air at constant pressure, change in temperature from T4 to T1. So here Q4 to 1 is equal to Cp into T1 minus of T4. So higher temperature is T1 and lower temperature is T4. So this difference is taken. Heat absorbed is T1 minus T4 kilojoules per kg. So this is amount of heat absorbed by this refrigerant or air. So these are the four processes which are performed during Bell-Coleman cycle, reversed Bell-Coleman cycle to produce refrigerating effect. Now we will see the work done during the cycle per kg of air. So work done is nothing but work input, work given to this air in order to compress, heat rejected minus of heat absorbed. So amount of heat which is total heat rejected Q out minus of Q in. So rest of the part is nothing but work done. So work plus of heat absorbed is rejected and the condenser. So amount of heat rejected in the condenser is nothing but the amount of heat absorbed in the evaporator plus work done on the refrigerant, both are rejected in the condenser. So this is obtained by work input is equal to heat rejected is nothing but Cp T2 minus T1 minus of heat absorbed is Cp T1 minus T4 kilojoules. Just we have seen equation number 1 and 2. So from equation 1 we are going to subtract equation 2, we get work input. So coefficient of performance of a refrigeration system is given by the refrigerating effect produced. So refrigerating effect produced is nothing but heat absorbed from the cold space divided by work input. So this is this gives us a coefficient of performance. So COP is equal to heat absorbed is nothing but Cp T1 minus T4, Cp T1 minus T4, and work input is given by equation 3, that is Cp T2 minus T3 minus of Cp T1 minus T4. So this gives us COP of this Bell-Coleman cycle. So this can be simplified further. Taking Cp as common, Cp gets cancelled. So this equation number 4 gives us coefficient of performance of a Bell-Coleman cycle. Now we just reduce this equation to in terms of temperature or in terms of compression ratio. So here this COP, coefficient of performance, is which is obtained now is T1 minus T4 divided by T2 minus T3 minus of T1 minus T4. So this is equation number 4. which we have obtained just now. Now this COP can be again written as taking T4 as common in the numerator, T4 T1 divided by T4 minus 1, as we are taking T4 as a common in the numerator, and from this bracket we take T3 as common. T3, if we take T3, T2 divided by T3 minus of 1 minus, again from second bracket we take T4 common. What is going to remain in the second bracket? T1 divided by T4 minus of 1. So this is equation number 5. So in this equation number 5, we have taken T4 common in the numerator, T3 from this first bracket and T4 from second bracket. Now for isentropic compression process, for isentropic compression process, one to two, just it was like this. 1 to 2, P V raised to gamma is equal to constant. We can write this temperature pressure relation as T2 divided by T1 is equal to T2 divided by T1 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. So this we call as equation number 6. And for isentropic expansion, process, T to 4. So this is T to 4. Again, temperature pressure relation can be written as T3 divided by T4, which is equal to T3 divided by T4 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. So we call this as equation number 7. Now we know that the pressure P2 is equal to P3 and pressure P4 is equal to P1. So the equation changes. And again, one more thing we know, T2 divided by T1 is equal to T3 divided by T4. T2 divided by T1 is equal to T3 divided by T4. T2 divided by T1 is equal to T3 divided by T4, because both are the isentropic processes. So this we call as equation number 8, and this is one of the relation. So now from these relations, we can substitute the values in equation of COP, and then we get this equation as, so T1 divided by T4. So this can be rewritten again, interchanging. So this T1 is taken here and this T4 is taken here. So T1 divided by T4, T1 is taken here, T3 is taken here. So T2 divided by T3, so T3 is taken in this denominator, which is equal to T1 divided by T4. So now from this, if we compare this in this case, T1 divided by T4 can be substituted as T2 divided by T3. So this becomes T2 divided by T3, this becomes T2 divided by T3. So therefore equation number 5 becomes, equation 5 becomes, first we will write equation number 5. So this equation number 5, COP, is equal to T4 in bracket T1 divided by T4 minus 1 whole divided by T3 in bracket T2 divided by T3 minus 1 minus of T4 T1 divided by T4 minus 1. So just now we have derived one relation. T2 divided by T3 is equal to T1 divided by T4. T2 divided by T3 is equal to T1 divided by T4. So T1 by T4 or T2 by T3 has to be replaced. Say T1 by T4 as it is minus 1 whole divided by T3. T2 divided by T3 is nothing but T1 divided by T4 minus 1 minus T4. T1 minus T4 minus 1. So this T1 minus T4, if we take common, so this T1 minus T4, T1 minus T4, T1 minus T4 gets cancelled. We get T4 divided by T3 minus T4. So how we obtained this? If we see here, from these two relations, equation number 5 and 6. So P2 divided by P1 and P3 means P2. So this equation becomes T3 divided by T4, which is equal to P2 means P3 means P2 and P4 means P1 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. So if we say this as equation number 1, comparing equation number 6 with equation 8, right hand side is same, therefore left hand side will be same. So that's why we can write this as T3 divided by T4 is equal to T2 divided by T1. So from this equation number 6 and 9, we can take this T3 divided by T4 is equal to T2 divided by T1 and interchanging this T1 here and T3 here. So we get T2 divided by T3 is equal to T1 divided by T4, and replacing this T2 divided by T3 by T1 by T4, we get this equation, and here we get we cancel, and finally we get COP as T4 divided by T3 minus T4. So this is coefficient of performance in terms of temperature. So now when we obtain this in terms of temperature, so this can be written as, so this T4, if we take into the denominator, so in numerator 1 remains and T3 minus of T4 whole divided by T4, if we bring this T4 in this denominator, then 1 divided by T3 divided by T4 minus 1 we can write. So now once we write this T3 divided by T4, which can be written as 1 divided by, so just now we have seen T3 divided by T4. T3 divided by T4 is equal to P2 divided by P1 to the power of gamma minus 1, equation number 9. So equation number 9 we can consider. So what is this equation number 9? Is T3 divided by T4 is equal to P2 divided by P1 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma. So here we can write this as P2 divided by P1 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. So in place of T3 divided by T4, from this equation number 9, we can write this as P2 divided by P1 to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1. So here we can write this as 1 divided by P2 divided by P1 can be written as R to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus of 1, where P2 divided by P1 is taken as R, which is known as a compression ratio, or this is again equal to P3 divided by P4. Maybe this can be called as compression ratio or expansion ratio. Finally, we can write COP of Bell-Coleman cycle as 1 divided by r to the power of gamma minus 1 divided by gamma minus of 1. So this is the COP of a Bell-Coleman cycle. So we stop here, and in next lecture we will be dealing with some numericals over this air refrigeration system.